I want to talk about how the Jews expected a conquering Messiah the first time around. That's one of the reasons why Peter pulled out his sword and cut off the servant's ear. The Jews were expecting a conqueror to overthrow Rome, that Messiah would overthrow Rome for them. That's why they were blinded. One of the reasons the first time, partially blinded, so that it could go to the Gentiles. The gospel could go to the Gentiles. And one thing to realize is Christ Yeshua is gonna come as a conqueror, but not until the Jews cry out. So you need to be watching Israel and what happens with Iran, because I believe Iran is going to be the one to come after Israel and fulfill the prophecy about all the nations coming around Israel. Well, Iran pretty much has a lot of that with Hezbollah and Hamas, and now that they've got Syria, and then Iraq, they've got a land bridge to Israel to try to destroy Israel. And I believe God will harden their hearts, if he hasn't already. He will harden the hearts of Iran to specifically attack Israel. And I suspect when Israel retaliates, the UN and all the nations will turn against Israel, fulfilling Bible prophecy. And Iran getting a nuclear weapon doesn't bother me. In fact, it's kind of exciting from a prophetic side, because Israel is terrified of Iran getting a nuclear weapon, as well as many of those in the Middle East are afraid of Iran. But God is stronger. Yahweh is stronger. Remember when the prophets of Baal did their thing, trying to get their God to consume the sacrifice, and Elijah basically taunted them, but that showed who the real God is. And I think that's what you're going to see happen with Israel and Iran. And Messiah will return when Israel is crying out, but the only way they will cry out is if their military power is overwhelmed. And don't be surprised if you see Russia, China, Turkey, and Iran go after Israel at some point fairly soon, and the UN will back them. And that's when Messiah will come. But of course, there are several things that have to take place before that. I think that Trump moving the embassy was a key time in history, and it actually opened America up to judgment because of the abortions and all that, and the immorality in America. I believe we have turned into Babylon, and that we will not be a major power in the Third World War. We will probably be destroyed in World War III. But World War III will probably include Iran against Israel, with Russia, China, North Korea, and all those people backing Iran. Turkey will back Iran. The Gog Magog war. But it will be won by God, not by the Israelis. It'll be won by Yahweh, not by the Israelis. And that prophecy will be fulfilled of the conquering Messiah, the one to overthrow the governments and establish his government. But Satan will have his chance first. So hopefully this is of interest to you if you don't already understand it. Shalom, shalom.